In this lesson, I'd like to cover the new Intersect tool for SOLIDWORKS 2013. Intersect is a solid body function that allows you to create many solid bodies from a single solid body. It works in many respects like a combination of other tools that already exist in SOLIDWORKS. Let's take a look at how it works in detail. On the way, we're going to get to see how some other features work as well. Let's start by opening up from your Chapter 1 folder the Transfer Strap SOLIDWORKS file. What we want to create is a die that's going to form or trim this particular part. So we need to create a block on the top and a block on the bottom that have this shape. And we also need to create some pillars or pins for the die to slide on. So I'm going to start with a sketch. Let's figure out where the origin of our part is first. It's down here. So I'm just going to, on the front plane, open a sketch and use the center rectangle to get it lined up with the origin, and then pull out a rectangle that's roughly this big. For this exercise, we really don't need dimensions. If you have the need to apply dimensions, go right ahead. Okay, so now we're going to extrude this some distance, let's say 2 inches. But if we extrude it just as it is with the default merge result turned on, then SOLIDWORKS joins that single solid body together, and we've got a Han Solo in carbonite sort of model here. And that's not what we want. We want this other block to be a separate solid body. So let's go back down to this feature we just added and turn off the merge result option. So now we should have two separate solid bodies where the two bodies intersect to some extent. And if we look at this in wireframe, we should be able to see the two bodies intersecting. Now we're actually going to go back and edit this because we realize we don't want just a single solid body. We want multiple solid bodies, and we have to get this block on both sides of the part. So let's edit this. Say go mid-plane, 4 inches. And now we realize that we want a couple of pillars in here or pins. So let's identify the middle of the part. We can do that easily by showing this sketch. I'm going to draw on the front plane a straight line, construction line, and set the midpoint of the rectangle to the midpoint of that line. And then add in 2 circles. These circles should be equal diameter. And let's set this to wireframe so we can keep the circles off of the part. Dimension this to 18 inches. And dimension these pins to, say, 2 inches. And those circles, we'll switch over to surfaces and extrude these mid-plane. Let's make that 5 inches. And we'll put back the command manager. So there we are. We have now one solid block, one sketch that we need to turn off, an actual solid part, and 2 surface bodies. Now what we also have is a plane that goes right down through the middle. Now I'm going to use the new feature called Intersect in order to make a series of solid bodies out of all of this. We could have used many other techniques to do the same thing, but I want to demonstrate how this tool is used. So let's go to Insert, Features, Intersect. This is a new function in SOLIDWORKS 2013, so there is a What's New icon here, which you can click for further description of how this tool works. Notice that this looks a lot like the Split tool, but it has several differences as well. Let's take a look now at the Flyout Feature Manager. Click the plus to expand it. And the first thing we want to do is we want to select everything that we've got that we're going to use to create the geometry. That includes the actual geometry and any reference geometry. So we get these surface bodies in here. All right, so I've got 2 solid bodies, 2 surface bodies, and a plane. Now when I say intersect, SolidWorks is going to offer me a list of regions. And this regions functionality works much like it does in sketches, so that if you have overlapping sketches, you can select regions that are formed by the overlaps. This works the same way, except in 3D, so it's a little more difficult to visualize. Let's go through and determine what we want to keep. Region 1 and Region 2 are both things that we want to keep, but Region 2 we want to keep on its own. And Region 1 really needs to be part of the actual rubber part that we're trying to create. Okay, Region 3 is the opposite of Region 2. Region 4 and Region 1 really need to be joined together into a single part, and so we're just going to leave them unselected. Region 5 is something that we need, as is Region 7. Notice that you've got the invert selection option here as well. So if you haven't read the header of this selection box, which says regions to exclude, then you can easily invert the selection. And so I'm going to have to use this option here. I was selecting the things I wanted to keep, and I'll just invert selection in order to make this work. Now, in the end, I don't want to have any surface bodies, so we'll say yes, consume the surfaces, and we'll click on the green check. Okay, we notice that we've got to go back, turn off the merge result in order to get what we're looking for here. And so here's our result. Let's take a look at this in solids and see we're missing the pins on the bottom. So let's go back, edit the intersect feature again, and put region 8 back in, and also region 6, and click on the green check. Now we've got pins that go all the way through. We've got a top half and a bottom half. Let's use our explode function for the solid bodies. This will be very useful now that we've got it. Take this solid body and explode it straight up. This solid body and explode it straight down. We're also missing the actual part. So let's go back to our intersect, region 4 and region 1. We want to add back in. We'll say okay. Okay, so now we've got what we want. Got a top half of the die. We've got a bottom half of the die. We've got our actual part that we started with. And we've got 2 pillars. Now the problems that we've got here are that our 2 pillars are actually made of separate bodies. So if we look at this way, we've got all these separate bodies that we've got to join back together. You could accomplish this in a different way using multiple intersect features. But I'm going to demonstrate another multi-body tool. Under Insert, Features, notice that our sketches and other features are not available at this point. So I'm going to collapse the explode. Now our sketches come back. And let's join together the bodies that need to be joined together. Under Insert, Features, Combine. Let's grab the Solid Bodies folder. We don't need that. Don't need that. We do need that. And we want to join it together with that. Press Enter, to restart the same command, and we'll select that part of the pin and this part of the pin and join those together. And one more time, we've got a top half of the actual part and a bottom half of the part as well. Now we go back and explode the exploded view, and our pillars are a single piece, our part is a single piece, and we've got a top and bottom block for our die.